Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has just released, and it's getting a lot of hype and praise. Like, I mean, a really lot of hype and praise. And even I have played the open beta test and really liked it a lot. Despite when it first got revealed, I legitimately didn't think I'd be interested because of that thing. But after playing the open network beta, I thought the game might have a chance. So I pre-ordered the game 3 weeks before launch, and here we are now. On the 22nd, I got home from work and booted up the game. Now, before I started playing and making this review, I had 3 questions that we'll be going over today in this review. 1. How does the game generally look and feel to play with all the stuff that the game has to offer? 2nd, going over general gameplay and online to see how well it fares in terms of keeping you hooked. And finally, would this game have enough content to keep you coming back from time to time? Well, that's what I'm here to figure out in this review. And just 2 quick notes before we start. Obviously, this review is going to be way shorter than my retrospectives because gosh, do you know how long retrospectives take? But also, this is the ranking system that we'll be using. You can pause the video if you want to look. But without wasting any more of your time and mine, let's take a look at Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Alright, let's start with the answer to the first question. As I have already seen from the open beta, I think this game looks absolute shit. On Nintendo Switch. I got you there for a second, didn't I? Of course, if you're playing on consoles, your mileage may vary with graphics between consoles, but I don't think it really matters to be honest. But on PC with these settings, this game looks absolutely amazing. Most of the animations while you're racing are pretty good, although some are a bit stiff in my opinion. It's more seen in the Rivals mechanic, which we'll talk about later. And I think that the UI is not too cumbersome, although there was some times where I was like, are you sure you did not want to put this somewhere else? As for how the controls feel, they feel great, and there wasn't really a time where I felt that the controls were too slippery. In fact, they were pretty snappy. And when it was usually because of how I customized my cart to not have too much handling, which we'll get more deep into later. Now, if I have to be honest, this question really there's not a lot to say actually. It feels like an arcade racer, such as Mario Kart 8. No, not that game. It feels absolutely great, but I feel like they could have made a use for the back 2 triggers on the controllers right here because as a person who plays Mario Kart, but it's no biggie. So for this section, I think I'll give it a 5 because there's not really too much that I'm negative about. Now we're here for the main course, the general gameplay and online play. Let's get to it. Now, the character roster is pretty amazing. You have your regulars like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, etc., whoever you want to put in there. But you also see them alongside people we haven't seen in the game in like forever, like the Babylon Rogues, and even new characters that have been recently seen, like Eggman's daughter, Sage. But also a weird choice to put Eggpod as a character. It's like when they put Goomba or Cow in Mario Kart World. Also alongside this are the Sega and DLC characters, which actually made me learn that Hatsune Miku has ties with Sega, so that's why she's in the game, so that's pretty cool I guess. But the other Sega characters make perfect sense, especially the ones in the present now. Now, as for the paid DLC characters, it's a mixed bag. I'll just put the image on screen showing how I feel about this stuff. Now back to the main game, each character will have a specific attribute to them, like having more speed, boost, power, etc. to the vehicle that you choose. Now, this game does have customizable vehicles that really help you figure out what type of playstyle you want. The 4 types of cars being the speed, handling, acceleration, and power types. They are just your regular carts, and while it is nice to see them because obviously you need them, some cars, like power cars, are just absolutely not my type, but whatever suits you for your preference in terms of gameplay. Besides, a certain mechanic later on will actually make these things kind of fun, and you'll see soon. Even if I had a specific attribute that wasn't really high in my vehicle, it still didn't feel too off-balancing that would make me feel thrown off from the gameplay. Besides handling, because actually in my opinion I think you really need that. But then again, you can just pick like a handling type character and you're sold. So like I said before, all car types are pretty alright and enjoyable. Plus seeing Jet in the car is just hilarious. Now, for the main vehicle that really made me enjoy this game, that being the returning Sonic Riders Extreme Gear. This was absolutely great to play. Being the boost type vehicle and the lightest weight class, this really made me feel the speed in this game. They even made the blue star just for us to use. Extreme Gear, while not acting like how it did in Sonic Riders, with the removal of the energy mechanic the games had, but they are way better than cars in my opinion, as they feel flexible while racing, and while they are the lightest weight class, they don't really actually get pushed too far that makes it an issue. My only real issue is that it's kind of hard to see if I'm going out of bounds, although I think that's actually just me probably. The customizing your vehicle thing was a thing I was mixed on at first. Of course, you can change your parts, but I didn't really see too many parts for cars, and that's mainly due to the fact that they're all spread between the different types of cars, which I feel like they should have made it for all of them. And it would feel really great that you can match a speed type part with a handling type part and combine them together with like the base of a kart or something like that. But I feel like no matter what, you should be able to choose which part regardless of the kart that you're using, like how Mario Kart 8 did it. The Extreme Gear also doesn't have as many parts, which is kind of stupid considering you can give a bunch of parts to, the cars, so where's the ones for the Extreme Gear? The real thing I like are the decals that you can put on, and no, I'm not talking about that thing in Mario Kart World where they just had you unlock a sticker and then just have be placed barely noticeable somewhere that nobody will ever see. Here you can actually customize your vehicle to different colors, different types of stickers that can actually be seen on the thing, and etc. Finally, before we talk about the courses, we just have to talk about the gadget system, a thing that I think is just game changing. The gadget system allows you to get new abilities, attributes, or pre-existing ones that will upgrade your vehicle stats even more. You can make one of the best optimized setups for Extreme Gear ever in the game that's completely busted in any single way and can even dodge the blue shell equivalent of this game. Or you can just do this with cars. But for real, the gadget system is pretty good at customizing your inherent playstyle. And as you go ahead and play through the game, you can even unlock more rows for new gadgets. This makes CrossWorlds actually feel like the whole customizable thing that would also almost never make me play a kart racer ever again, although that's a lie, I'll still buy Mario Kart. So yeah, there's a lot of customization with vehicles that I enjoyed. But how do the courses fare? Okay, sorry, one more thing before we talk about courses. We have to talk about the rival system. This has the game choose a random character that's going to be your rival, and they have unique interactions for every single character. I think there's actually more than 100 of them, but my favorite ones just have to be with Omega. He is like an absolute beast when it comes to cooking everybody.
You know, destroy the competition is just an expression, right?
Irrelevant. I will win, and then inform your next of kin. Vector the Crocodile, lead detective of the Chaotix Detective Agency, unable to pay his bills. Find a clue or a date.
Omega, how about we bury the hatchet for now, metaphorically speaking?
Only if the burial site is your metaphorical head.
The rivals add a lot of stake into a race, as they can actually be challenging, and it really puts pressure onto you to beat that rival. This keeps the flow going so that way you're not bored passing by some CPUs that you're going to already beat. But that rival, oh no, they're on your tail no matter what, which makes it super tense on who's gonna win. Plus, if you beat all the characters, you can unlock Super Sonic, who is only in Grand Prix because he's super OP. PSA before we start. After I beat all the Grand Prix and tried online mode for a bit, I did download and put in some cosmetic mods in the game. So if you're just seeing some like Sonic Riders outfits for some characters that, well, aren't even actually in the base game, it's because I just put them in there for mods. They're not unlockable in any single way. Now, with that all said, let's get back to the video. Anyway, moving on, 90% of the stages I really like a lot. The stages are pretty well detailed, and there are a lot of them from previous Sonic games. Some of my favorite tracks include Aqua Forest, White Space, and Chow Park, though there are many more. I think they could have created some better designs like for East Stadium or Colorful Mall, because the former is just Mario Kart Stadium, and then the latter is... I don't even need to explain it to you.
You just got coconut mold.
Share this with all your friends to totally coconut maul them.
The CrossWorlds, or Cross Rings, are probably one of the most creative ideas I've ever seen for a game like this. A kart racer of all things also. Being able to choose where to go, that's completely random in some cases. This can make every lap 2 just be anything, from cyberspace, hidden world, which I actually never even knew was a level from Sonic Lost World, or digital circuit from Shadow the Hedgehog of all things. You can even choose Grand Prix tracks when you complete all of them. The CrossWorlds being a marketing point and a feature that doesn't make it feel like a gimmick, and more of an actual part of the race that, while unpredictable, is fun. Now, CrossWorlds has the thing that all kart racers should have, being the transforming sections, and they're mostly good. Landform is, well, the landform. What do you expect? But the boat sections are one of my favorites. Being able to jump, which is something in Mario Kart World. Plus, with my extreme gear build for gadgets, these sections are super fun to fully charge mini turbos and even cheese some items in the game. The flight sections, on the other hand, I'm kind of mixed about. On one hand, it's kind of the same how I described the boat section, but they aren't really any shortcuts, and one of my biggest gripes is the fact that it's kind of clunky. But by drifting it kind of helps because it's directional, but it still feels like most of the time I keep on running into walls or things. It's mostly good that these sections are pretty short, or sometimes you can just skip them entirely. But even if there is a mandatory flying section, as long as you get used to it, it probably won't be a bother to you too much. After you end each race, you'll be rewarded with this game's in-game currency, Dampa tickets, which can only be used on parts, decals, and friendships, which are basically just getting more cosmetics. Race Park is another mode that's mainly for multiplayer, although there are even rewards for them. I only played 3 races with them, and while they are fun, they are just something that you can do on the side, nothing real special. The time trials are... You know, do I even need to explain to you? But if you complete 3 time trials with an A rank, you can get music tracks that you can bop to and even put them in racing, and online as well. Alright, online. Online feels pretty good for the most part. You can go into races and also win tickets from it. There are also events that happen from time to time, and if I am sure by the time this video releases, the Hatsune Miku event will be live or done. I really don't have anything to say for online. It's pretty good. My only gripe is that there are a bit too many disconnections from here to there, but for most of the time that I played online, there wasn't many errors. The general gameplay is pretty good, and with the downsides that I listed only being really minor in my opinion, although there is that thing with online having some errors at some point, so for that I'll give it a score of 4.5. Finally, let's talk about the content that this game has to offer after all the game modes. Like I said before, Dampa tickets are going to be your main way of buying things, from the various vendors like car parts and friendship rewards, although those rewards are mighty expensive, holy bamoli or something like that. And while I do like kart racers, I usually get bored of them after a while. This is why I feel like those events and the post-game launch content will really come to bring players back in. You know, when I played Mario Kart World for the first time, I really enjoyed it with all those fluid animations because, gosh dang it, I love animation. The open world struck cool at first, and I really liked Knockout Tour a lot. But as time went on, I started to stop playing Mario Kart World around mid-July, as even though the open world thing had challenges and stuff, it didn't really feel good to me, and there was really no reason to 100% the open world because there was no reward once you complete all the challenges. And yes, I do know that you can unlock costumes for characters, but some characters, which were mainly NPCs, were just locked to a certain part of the map. And before any of y'all start saying anything, I do know that the new UFO trick exists. Still very stupid though back then. And now, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds will have post-launch DLC that, even way after the game's base release, will still have something players will look forward to. And we're already getting so much of that with the likes of new characters. They even added MegaMan, although I don't know what they were thinking with Avatar. That one probably makes the most zero sense out of all of them. They are also already having tournaments on Twitch Rivals, while Mario Kart World is just getting its first one. Having all of these along with free DLC also coming out for the Sega characters, or even more Sonic characters, I'm not really entirely sure, already put this game, in my opinion, leagues above what Mario Kart World has to offer, after you went through most of the game. I also understand that not all the DLC is out yet. Heck, we're not even a couple weeks into the game. But in the end, with this much content, I gotta rank it a 4 out of 5 because when consumers know what's coming next, they'll probably stick around playing the game or at least come back to it time to time. Alright, the score for this game is going to be a 14 out of 15 and an A rank. But after all this, don't take my word for it. Go play the game yourself. And yes, I know this game is pretty expensive. Even I was turned down when I first saw this game price, like, oh my gosh. But from what I've played, I can surely say that past me was wrong, and this game is absolutely great. And you should play it too. If anything, I recommend going to a third-party site like Fanatical, or in my case, I went to Planet Play and used this code. Though, big warning, I don't know if this code works anymore because I used it when I first discovered it. So please don't get mad at me if this doesn't work. I'm just a guy who makes YouTube videos for my own personal enjoyment. I also didn't want to make this video a complete let's compare to Mario Kart World. But again, if you think Mario Kart World is the better game or Sonic Racing, then it's your own opinions. I really don't care, it's your opinions. In the end, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has a lot going for it with the thought-out mechanics of the CrossWorlds, along with all the tracks and courses that celebrate Sonic's history, having things that will keep players hooked for a while, and a bunch of post-launch content, paid and free, that will make players coming back for more. That's why I think Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is one of, if not the best kart racers I've ever played. Now, with that all said, it's time for me to relax before writing about that stupid fucking video game.
It's Sonic.